The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the rights of the public have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in Star Ledger and express times and submitted to Town Clerk, Town of Belvidere, January 8, 2018. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah.
Mr. Lund? Mrs. Bocchino? Here. Dr. Zuppeth?
Here.
Mrs. Furman? Mr. LeBar?
Here.
Mr. Lucas? Mr. Matlock? Mr. McInerney?
Here.
Mr. Mitchell?
Here.
Mr. Rader? Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Steffen? Here.
Good evening. We're going to jump the agenda a little bit and do our teacher recognitions and staff recognitions. I'm going to turn it over to Chris.
Thanks, Sean. The principals are going to take a moment just to recognize our teachers of the year and our educational service professionals of the year. Certainly quite an honor every year, and this year the group that's being recognized is quite deserving as always. After tonight, in first Friday in June, which I don't know the date exactly, they're recognized at the county level. They get the pleasure of joining myself and the administration for a nice luncheon at the Hawk Point Country Club, where they get further recognition. So very well deserved. So without further ado, Mr. Staples, you want to start off?
Hello, everyone. First, before I start, I would like to congratulate all the teachers of the year, educational service professionals of the year. I am very blessed to work with two of what I would consider we have a lot of great teachers in the district, and I got two of the best down at 3rd Street School. First, I'll talk about our educational service professional of the year, Miss Beth Franceschino. Beth is how I would describe one of those do-it-all type of people. She coaches one of our most successful teams here. She's our head field hockey coach. She is our RTI math instructor at 3rd Street School. She teaches middle school math. She is our testing coordinator. She is our building rep. She is our yearbook advisor. And I'm pretty sure she does anything that anybody in the district asks of her. You can even see her going on top of the cheerleading pyramids simply because the cheerleaders ask her to do it. And that's just the type of person she is. But along with being that consummate team player, Beth excels in the classroom teaching my students and the option students math. One of her gifts is being able to differentiate the different kids, and as an RTI instructor, she gets different levels from a 5-year-old that doesn't even know what the number 2 is to a 6th grader who's still struggling with division, and she just finds a way to reach every single one of these students. And I think she's just a great definition of what a Belvidere teacher is, somebody that's willing to go the extra mile and do what it takes to reach all its students. So congratulations to Beth. And my teacher of the year is who I call the true face of 3rd Street School. If anybody asks me what 3rd Street School is really about, I just tell them to go check out Renee Christopher's classroom. You're never going to see the same thing 2 days in a row. There's certain days where I'm going to walk in and I'm like barricaded almost from getting in the door. Don't worry, Jim, it's fire safe, everything's great. But because she's just doing some different activity with the kids to get them to understand what it is she wants them to learn. She works with our kindergarten students. And one of the best compliments that she's ever gotten from somebody else is when Mr. Carabinas came by to check out her class last year. He came into my office after and he just goes, "Brian, how the heck did she do it in here all day, every day?" She started off with 18 kids this year, and it has grown exponentially as the year's gone on, and she's taken everything in stride. No matter what it is, she changes everything day by day. She's one of those people that I don't even know if I could get when I walked to her classroom. I walked in on Monday to a giant tent being set up inside of the room because it was camping day, and that became the kids' new reading center. And if it was up to me, that tent would stay all year long, so I think it's fantastic. And the kids love it. But she is one of those people that works the extra hours. I think oftentimes teachers sometimes get that rap of being an 8 to 3 type of person. Renee works longer than I do. She'll be here like 7, 8 o'clock at night some nights. She came in on Saturday to set up her camping day, and she got some of her paraprofessionals to come help her. So she's the person, I love having her in kindergarten because I always tell her she's the person that draws these kids to the Belvidere School District. If they get Renee as their kindergarten teacher, they're not going anywhere. I can tell you that for right now. So I'm very, very proud and happy to have Renee Christopher as our teacher of the year.
models of compassion and caring for our students. She maintains an excellent level of professionalism with her colleagues, administration, staff, parents, and community leaders. She will always take the time out of her day to address concerns of students as well as colleagues. She does an outstanding job with Builders Club and has taken Builders Club this year, in my opinion, to a whole other level with unbelievable participation and supports the community in many different ways. She is an excellent example of a caring professional teacher. Thank you for all you do. Congratulations. Oxford Street Educational Professional Year has done an outstanding job as our school nurse, first at 3rd Street, now at Oxford Street. No matter the issue, she treats every child with care, compassion, and professionalism. She is highly skilled as a medical professional, yet maintains a calm and soothing approach in her work. She always serves as a safe and trusted place for students, parents, and staff alike, whether it's moving a splinter, responding to an emergency, mediating a disagreement, checking for scoliosis, providing support for families in need, or teaching students about hand washing. Sue does it all with grace and finesse. Every situation gets her full perfection. Congratulations, Ms. Sue Marks, and thank you for all you do. All right, congratulations everyone. Our Educational Service Professional of the Year is Mr. Demarest. Mr. Demarest, to me, and to the people around here, is just so reliable. He is someone that you can count on, is always around to help out. You'll often find him monitoring the hallways, talking to our students. He's the first person you can call when you need coverage in the building. And when he's absent, the building itself feels it. Where's the coverage here? Who's supposed to be in here? Oh, Mr. Demarest's not here, and it creates a ripple effect. He has great relationships with our students. He knows them all. He knows where they should be. And if he doesn't know where they are at that time, he'll probably know where they will be in a minute or two. You can also find him providing coverages at the majority of our athletic events. He's a staple at most of our events. He's professional, dependable, and he's one of the reasons that we have a great staff. He cares about our kids, and he does a fantastic job. He's well-deserved at this school. Congratulations. Next Teacher of the Year is Mr. Lay. He's not here today, but I'll still say a few words about him. I don't really feel like I'm all that qualified to speak about the impact that Mr. Lay has had around here for the last 40 years. In my experience here for the last 5 years, there's two things that everybody knows about Belvidere. One is Hot Dog Johnny's, and two is Brian Lay, even though Hot Dog Johnny's really isn't Belvidere. But two is Brian Lay. He's run these halls the last 40 years. That's a long time. And I can only imagine how many administrators that he has trained along the way. He is more than a teacher to many of our students. He's a confidant, a father figure. He's someone that students believe in and someone they trust. And it's well documented that he doesn't do these things to receive recognition. And as a matter of fact, I didn't really even want to tell him that he got Teacher of the Year. I was apprehensive to tell him about that because I knew that he was going to fight with me about it. He was going to argue with me about it because he didn't want this award. That's not why he does it. And he's here for the kids, and it was going to be a whole back and forth. But when he heard the students nominated him, he graciously came to the realization that his kids were doing exactly what he taught them. He empowers our students to be leaders in our community. He encourages them to advocate for themselves and what they believe in. He encourages them to work hard and always do the right thing. There's so many things he does around here. FFA advisor, he takes the students to the national convention, Trees for Troops, fruit, flowers, Yule logs, pumpkin arrangements, just to name a few. 4-H landscaping. You can't find someone that graduated from Belvidere High School that doesn't know him or doesn't have something good to say about him. And he's certainly well-deserved this award. And as most of you know, he'll be retiring at the end of the year. So he is someone that will be sorely, sorely missed here. He is a staple of this school and this community. So, congratulations. Thank you.
What's that? Sure.
That would be great.
Sure. You want these pictures?
Just on behalf of the board, thank you all. One of the things that makes our district really great is the dedication of our staff. And it shows time in, time out, staff turning out for all kinds of things, really just being about education, especially in a smaller district. The level of commitment, I think, is truly remarkable, and I mean that with all sincerity. So thank you all.
And a quick thank you to Coke and Eli Coke for the refreshments.
Way to go, Eli.
Nice job, Coach.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Mrs. Coke. We're going to jump back on our agenda to public participation. Do we have any comments or questions from the public this evening? Correspondence.
I have one letter. To Mr. Kruba and the Belvidere Board of Education. My son's due date is May 26, 2018. As of now, I plan on working up to the week of May 14th, making my last day of work Friday, May 18th. I plan to use sick time for the remainder of the school year until June 15th. Should everything go according to plan, I am looking to begin New Jersey family leave either September or October 2018 for the allotted time of 3 months, and then returning to teaching either December of 2018 or January of 2019. Respectfully, Greta Marie Scott. So she's on the agenda tonight.
Okay. Thanks, Sheldon. Superintendent, balance of the superintendent's report.
Okay. I also just want to echo what you said, Sean. I think our sixth professional and education teacher of the year is just a good example of what the Belvidere district has to offer our students on a day in and day out basis. And it's not an easy task choosing the teachers of the year because we get quite a few nominations. So hats off to the administration because they sit there with some parents and some other previous winners. It's not easy to do, but this is a very well-deserving group. And again, when we go to that lunch in June, I'm very proud to be with the teachers because serve with them because they do an outstanding job day in and day out. So I thank them for all that they do. I'm going to be a little shorter than usual tonight because I know everybody's a little concerned about the weather. So let's start with the weather. I know there's been some concern about not updating parents and students about the calendar, and I would say that's a very calculated move given that it's difficult to do because we seem to be getting a day or two off every week right now. As of this moment right now, the plan would be to be in next Friday on Good Friday for half a day, assuming we don't lose tomorrow, which at this point I'm pretty much assuming we're going to lose tomorrow. But and if that's the case, then we will then be off Good Friday, have a half day next Thursday, and then take the 2 days back from April break. But if the call has to go out tomorrow morning and won't go out till tomorrow morning, I'll update the parents at some point during the day as to what the plan is going to be. Hopefully we won't lose much past tomorrow and we can get in even if it's a delayed opening on Thursday. This has certainly been the most challenging weather year that in the 5 years I've been a superintendent. March has just been a nightmare. So it was actually funny, we were in a meeting with a parent today. Ms. McKinney was trying to explain when the end of the marking period would be, and the best answer was, still not sure. So everybody just hang in there, and sooner or later it's going to warm up. Just a quick update on school security. I know it's been an issue that we've been talking about really since the parent forum back in almost a month ago now. Retired chief, but I still call him Chief Riley, has been here on a daily basis per Belvidere Police Department, and we're starting to finalize the deal with them where we believe we'll start paying for services in April and have someone here full-time next year. So we're just trying to work out just the minor details of all of that, but it should be in place. Chief Riley will have his report to me. He's hoping for Friday, depending on how the next couple of days go with the weather and things like that. So he's done a really nice job, and it's been nice to have his presence in the building day in and day out for the last few weeks. We do have one add-on. I don't know if Shelley got the add-ons out, and it's my fault that I've been meaning to discuss this in curriculum, but Mr. Zetterstrom has asked us to put on the agenda the Tri-M Music Honor Society. We have not had a Music Honor Society here. He needed me to do that by today so we can start inducting students into it. Mr. Z is going to do it to begin with pro bono, and then we'll work out a stipend down the road. And I do not have with me the qualifications, but it's pretty much him and Mr. AP will choose the students that will be in the Honor Society. So I do hope we can get that approved tonight without much information. I do apologize for that. And that's pretty much all I have for tonight.
questions for Chris?
I've got one because I'm confused about what you said regarding security. You said something about April for, and then beginning next school year.
Yeah.
What did you say about April?
That's when we discussed with the police. The police department right now is paying for Chief Riley to be here. And we would discuss sometime in April, helping to pick up the cost for that. So,
Okay.
so sometime probably on the April board agenda, we'll put a motion on to approve that.
A portion of it.
Mhm.
Any idea what it is?
We're trying to just work that out. Yeah.
Any other questions?
What did we decide for September for a full-time person? What kind of level of person are we trying to?
The level 2.
Class.
In
Class
school?
2.
Class
Thank
two.
you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, class 2.
I couldn't remember the class either. I knew it
Yeah,
was
class
so
2.
2 is in the school and in the town.
Correct, but the person will be in the building. And one of the questions I had, and I don't know where the conversation has been played, if there's a situation in the town, the person will still be in the buildings. They will not respond to anything in town.
They wouldn't be dispatched to another
Correct.
location.
Correct. They will be
The
here.
cost of that person though, would be much more than the cost of just the person hired by the school.
It would depend on who the person is and what the qualifications we give that person.
And if they require benefits.
Right.
The benefits, I think, were off the table
Right.
because we knew we could get her retired some way.
Right.
Well, again, though, you're talking about hypothetical versus,
Right.
you know, the,
Well, hypothetical for
Yeah.
us, but not hypothetical for the other districts that have it.
Right.
So we don't have a minimum cost yet for September, is that what I'm hearing?
We're talking probably $27 an hour times 35 hours a week or 180 days, so it'd probably be in the high 30s.
So,
So
a lot more than the other school districts, and I do want to say that. I know Voorhees is $12 an hour. North Warren, I thought was $10 or $11 an hour.
for the same, for a class 2 officer?
For a class-
Not class 2,
Okay.
because they can't do the town, or they're not going to do the town, they're only the school district, so they're off all school district days.
So is it class 3 then that you're talking about?
I forget which way they went. I didn't completely understand.
Okay.
Chief,
Maybe what would be helpful, Chris, is if we can get that
Sure.
from Chief Riley as well.
I could also reach out to the other superintendents and see
I
what
would
they're.
like you to
and
see what
see-
they're
yeah.
going to
And
do,
it,
a
but
comparative.
but also in our package,
Yeah.
the definitions of what each
Sure.
class is. Would that be helpful, Mary?
That would be helpful.
Okay.
because I think that 2 was in school and town. 3 was just in school, but was much cheaper.
All right.
And given our declining enrollment and our increase in taxes, I think much cheaper is maybe better than we go.
Anything else, Brian? Thank you.
Yes, not on that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Chris on his report? The only thing I'd like to just comment, not question, more of a comment, just our appreciation to the town. They've been very, I think we've all acknowledged, we had some serious issues and they stepped up and they were very responsive. So we really appreciate that level of cooperation and collaboration going on with,
Yeah.
with the police force and the town. Okay. That's it for you, Chris?
Yep, that's it for me.
On policy, can we get a motion on items 1 through 13?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? These are all first reading. Brian, is there anything you'd like to highlight on any of these? Oh, well, I'm sorry. That's right. I stand corrected. One of them is second reading, the drug and alcohol.
Brian forwarded me a series of questions. I don't know what the best way to do it is just to read off your questions and go through my answers, or forward everything to the rest of the board before the second reading.
I like that
Okay.
idea,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Do an all communication and.
Okay,
'cause
I will
we can
do that,
be here
yeah.
for a while with
He
those.
had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of the policies. There were just a couple words, more than one question, a couple were quick questions. I did take the time to answer all of them, but what I'll do is I'll forward Brian's email over with the question specific, and then I will forward my response to that so you can kind of get a sense. And I'll do that well before the next meeting.
Were any of those questions related to the first item, since it's second reading? The
They
first
were
policy
not.
item?
They were
No,
not.
so
Nope.
we can still take action on that?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, I think the same question I had asked in the email. I didn't get a real solid answer. We have all these policies, and what caught my attention was I'm reading the adult community education. The first thing it says is, the board will establish and maintain a program of adult education. Well, we don't have one,
Right.
but I'm told we don't require one. This policy is optional. How do we know which policies are optional and which policies policies are not optional?
It's a good question, because Lorette and I had the conversation after your email. And what we've been doing is we've been just going through all of the policies that need to be cleaned up for a long time,
No, that's a good one.
without actually going back to then check to see which ones were mandatory and which ones weren't. So what I said to her was, why don't we do that from this point forward? Let's see because we know that the adult school is not mandatory.
We don't have it, we're not gonna have it.
So, yeah, so take it out. So we were just kind of chipping away, because they were already in policy, rather than taking a moment to look. So we're going to do that.
Note on the top of these or something, optional, or if required. or
Correct, yeah, we can do that.
something like
I think required
Yeah.
would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will absolutely do that.
All right, good.
that's a good point, Mary.
Yeah, it's a good
How
point.
do you, Chris, how do you and Lorette get them? I mean, are they sent to you
Yeah,
by
so-
what, school boards?
Yeah, so what we did was, if we go back to, and this has been, as you know, almost a 4-year process that we've been doing this, we got a complete list we asked school boards to do the wellness check.
Right.
And then we had the complete list of everything that needed to be updated or changed. With that, we get, I won't say monthly, because it's probably more bi or tri-monthly, depending on 3 months out or 2 months out, but we get a list of that need to be updated as well. So anything that we get from school boards moving forward. So if you go from, like, let's say, policy 2116 had to be revised, we know we've already covered that one, because we're basically just going down the number order. So we're going down the number order. So we're from the wellness check, you can tell we're in the 600s, the 6,000, sorry. This 4116 that you had a question on, and even going back on the 3541, which you didn't have a question on, those are given to us from school boards to be updated.
Do they tell you whether it's mandatory or not?
They do not. However, in my other life as a superintendent at Harmony, we use Strauss Esme where they do tell us.
I remember that. 'Cause
So we can
used to
easily go
use
back and check
but
them
it
as they
was-
come in.
I think we were charged $15,000 a year for that
We were.
Yeah.
It was expensive.
contract.
Yeah. So that's how we'll do them. As they come in from this point forward, I'll cross-reference to see which ones are mandatory, which ones are not.
Okay.
So, because they have them as mandatory, highly recommended,
So stratification.
yeah, they do. So I'll do that moving forward.
Don, you had something to?
Just a question. I was at the last board meeting, so I just did. For number one, about the drugs and alcohol. Marianne, 2 meetings ago, brought up the issue of vaping and how it was classified. Was that ever clarified? First, when 2 meetings ago, it was classified more as a drug, treated as such.
I think it's gonna stay.
And I saw
gonna
this
stay that
at the
way.
last meeting on the first reading, of the
Yeah.
application.
I thought we modified it. I didn't look at the second answer. I didn't look at it again since we had that discussion. We left it as it was, as a substance abuse issue.
You good?
I think, who's it? Ed. On the vaping being classified as a drug instead of tobacco, I believe there was substantial reason to do that?
Absolutely. We don't know what's in the vape that they're using. One of the big things that's going on with kids right now is called dabbing. So what they're doing is taking the oils of the marijuana, burning them down, and other substances, and then they're smoking. So we don't know what's in there that they're smoking. So whether it's in tests.
Yeah, my question originally was, are we sure, and you can't be sure I get that, but are we fairly confident that we're not forcing them to go back to smoke cigarettes, so to speak, because they can't vape anymore? And really drugs are not the issue? It's really nicotine as opposed to, with most of them are nicotine related, as opposed to, you know what I mean? I know.
It's not that we're allowing them to smoke.
Yeah.
No, we were saying we can't vape. So
Is it
if
the
you're gonna
unintended,
get
the unintended
suspended for
consequence
vaping-
of it?
Yeah, if you're gonna get suspended for vaping versus detention for smoking, and I was doing it for the nicotine, I'm gonna go back and have a cigarette now. So that was all.
It's a tough one, because like as
I think
Ed
it's something
pointed
to
out,
watch,
we're
keep
we're
an
like,
eye on.
But
really,
if he feels that that's wrong, that
It's
there's
a
a
problem.
problem.
I don't think it's only a problem here. It's a problem
everywhere,
in all middle schools and high schools.
right?
Yeah,
It's-
nobody's smoking cigarettes.
And it's cheap and it's readily available.
Maybe with all the flavors, there's like 7,000 different flavors.
Yeah, but they don't have nicotine in it, is my point. So if they're vaping just for the vaping, are they gonna go to smoking now, which is gonna give them the nicotine and the addiction as opposed to just the vaping for the flavor?
The research and the evidence on this is really so inconsistent.
I know, but
They
I
would
just
say, but then there was another report that just came out, and now they're saying that it's not. So it's just so inconclusive at this time.
we would just make everything then. Instead of giving them detention for nicotine, should we give everything a suspension?
Okay, I'm fine with that.
We can do that. We can alter our policy.
You put the target on my mind.
You good, Marion?
Yeah.
Okay, Don, you good? Anything else? 1 through 13? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Under personnel, items 14 through 17, can we get a motion in a second?
And 17A.
17A, we have an, oh yeah, we have an add-on. Thank you.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Thanks, Don.
What is number 15, appointment interim?
Jennifer Spouse is a new teacher, and this is her first placement, so by state law, she has to have a mentor. So Mr. Raduzzi would be the mentor. That helps her get her, go from a certificate of eligibility, advanced standing to the provisional, and then to a standard certification. It's a requirement. And then number 16, no, he does not have any children in the program.
I knew the answer to that.
I know you did, but I figured I'd say it anyway.
The preemptive answer.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And if anybody has a question on 17, just real quick, Ann Sweeka is going to be out for an extended period of time, and Ms. Di Benedetto will be filling.
I'm sorry, who's going to be?
Ann Sweeka?
Okay. Anything else? Roll call.
Mrs. Vakino? Yes. Dr. Zappa?
Yes.
Mr. LeVar?
Yes.
Mr. McInerney?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Stefani?
Yes.
On education, items 18 through 21, 21A,
Motion.
Second.
discussion. Marianne?
Chris had actually sent me some clarifying information, but I don't know if I'm completely clear.
Okay.
We're talking about the 4 teachers going to the AIM Academy for Wilson Just Works. When I first read this, I thought it said that we were already implementing it in grades 3 through 8 in the Coley House. So if we are implementing it in Nicole in grades 3 through 8, the next email said that we're going to implement it in September in K to 3 or K to 2, however you want to look at that. But we're sending all these teachers so we can implement it in Oxford Street. If we're already implementing it in Oxford Street, why am I sending all these teachers to implement it?
Chris has been ready for this conversation for a week and a half.
Try to we are not currently, we have fragmented, like the math teachers went for IXL today. That's the supplemental for math. IXL first in math. What we don't have is a common supplemental within the district for majority. We have 2 now, 4 through 8 for math. We need teachers. We're talking about those 10-minute starters. We're talking, like, teachers can use foundation, which will be K to 3. We don't have any language arts-based programs set up for 4 to 8 or K through 8 that establishes a common theme.
Is this going to be for special ed or
Special ed would be
across the board?
You can use it like in regular ed. Language arts can use it as a 10-minute starter to build a foundation of language arts. When you're talking about resource room teachers that are going through this, it will be a more intense program.
So it's not going to just be for resource room or special ed, it's going to be used across the board.
Correct.
Now, the foundations in the K to 2,
Monday,
have
yeah.
those teachers been?
There. Well, Ms. Kane,
These pieces of it, and we're getting the entire program to make sure it's uniform throughout the year.
So we don't need certified teachers in K to 2, but we need certified teachers in K to 3, which is 3 to 8, which really is a to 12 program. So if we're incorporating it for success across everything, are we going to incorporate it then into the high school?
we do have a certified, we have 2 certified Wilson instructors, one at the high school, one at K8. So we do have 2.
But Wilson is not it, right? It's just
Wilson
words.
Foundations and Foundations and Just Words is a Wilson program.
intended then to go across the school district with it?
Well, people are already using, we have the K to 8. The need for us is K-3 uniformity through 4-8 to build the basics of, we have no structure all the way throughout. And this is what we're going to use as one of the tools, as well as we already read naturally. We're using fourth helium in this K's classes.
So if we're gonna have a structure K to 8, we then want structure K to 12.
Correct, we have a certain, yes, it
So
is.
are we going to send the high school teachers to their version of Just Works?
And yes, we have a certified Wilson already on staff working with special ed.
Do you only have to be certified Wilson, or you have to be certified Just Works?
Just works, it's two separate. Like, you have the big,
Okay.
you have the big Wilson program, and even our certified Wilson specialist needs to get Just Works.
So I'm gonna ask again, are we going to send the high school Wilson certified teachers to Wilson to be certified for Just Words that have continuity K to 12?
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to answer.
It was painful. I think I had one more question, but damn it, now I don't remember it.
How many?
And you don't even want to know that, because I'm sure if it's 2
It's-
and 4, as we multiply up, we're probably at 8.
Because this is 2,300 right here.
Yeah, I know.
And keep in mind, this is also money that's being covered from the state. This is from our title, I forget what
Now,
title.
one
This is-
last question. How do we know this is the program for us? And I can quote Everyday Math as an example of us picking a program that's just for us that has ruined probably 8 years worth of children's math.
We're not going to say that because all the kids are different, all the kids are going to learn different. That's why we have multiple programs. This is just adding another resource to the teachers. Like we have 3 other reading opportunities for kids to learn. We have like the short term, because like this is just another way to do it.
How do we determine that this is the one for
We
us?
do articulation within the district.
So all the districts are using this?
With our district.
Oh, so wait, you did articulation within Belvidere or within our cluster?
Articulation within our school. One of the things when I took over principal at Oxford Street, I found that the teachers needed time to collaborate and communicate. We found out we're very disconnected. So what we're trying to do is send our teachers to connect them K through 8 and to sit down and give teachers the time to just share their ideas and what they're doing in the classroom. We were a little disconnected. We're trying to unite them. And when they sat down as a group of teachers, a group of professionals, this is what they thought was the best direction for our students and the biggest need for our kids. We have 25 kids.
I don't disagree with that, but I lived through Everyday Math, which at that time, everybody said was God's gift to math for the Belvidere School. And I don't know that anybody did the research or had any facts behind it to ensure that that was, because as it turned out, it was not. I just want to make sure if we're spending our money, we're picking a program we believe in our hearts is going to be the one for our kids.
We believe in our hearts are the best for our kids, for every kid. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I want.
For every kid. So it's not like a teacher, we work that in for a 10-minute introductory lesson on a daily basis.
What I don't want to do is sit here in 5 years from now and have a parent say this new spelling technique that you taught us ruined our kids and they cannot spell. Because that's what I heard about math.
They will be able to spell.
That's recorded, I'm golden. Y'all got that, right?
They will be able to spell.
I think he was nice. I think what he really wanted to say was he's hoping you're not sitting there in 5 years.
Unfortunately, I may be looking at this, I left, I came back, you never know. No, like I said, it's really because I lived through that fiasco. And I want to make sure that somehow we have a checklist, we check off to say we researched this, we talked to these people, we looked at scores, you know.
And that's one of the things we have done is.
I've been working on this for a year and a half with Mrs. Kane and Mrs. Ehas, exploring different options and speaking to other schools who they use similar products. As a teacher, this is just the one that we think is definitely going to work best, K to 3 through 8.
Wilson is pretty widely accepted and is well time tested. So I would say that there's a lot of validity behind Wilson. That being said, though, Mary Ann, that education is prone to trends, and there's always somebody coming down the pike with the newest, greatest way to teach kids, and we can't dissuade ourselves from the fact that that's a reality. There's always going to be something coming in new, either instructional or on assessment. I mean, and the reality is there's a lot of money that can be made by selling new curriculums or selling new tests. So I think it's just, your questions are good, because then it's up to the administration to research it and then tell us, we think Wilson is the program and this is the reason why.
But hey, Chris actually mentioned this in the further meeting. It's another tool in the toolbox. It's not the overarching, we're doing everything based off of Wilson. It's just something else to give to our teachers to bring to the kids. Because some are going to excel with it, and some are going to have to try something else.
Mhm.
These are all
Every class just has a different need on how much they're gonna have to use it.
You good, Marion?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Chris, did you say this is not, there's going to be funding for this?
Yeah, this is, because we were classified as a comprehensive school, we've gotten, I forget the exact rate,
49,000, 43,000?
43,000 from the state. That can only be spent 4 to 8 on educational programs.
Some people get agita when they see this chart and the expenditures. Is it possible, and I didn't know that, by the way, is it possible to list it as a, this is not our dime, basically?
We can
to-
indicate
Sure.
we're spending that money.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
Footnote it
because
or something?
otherwise, this looks like it's out of pocket.
Yeah, because we do have a lot of things earmarked
good
when we
point.
start.
Yeah, it's a good point.
putting that in.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll differentiate that.
Raritan Bridgewater is closed tomorrow,
Okay,
in case you're interested.
What's closed?
Raritan Bridgewater School District,
Okay.
they're close
The
to,
results are coming in.
yeah, and the results are coming in. They have me listed as Uncle Sean on their, seriously. So I get a courtesy call from them. Anything else on that? No? Is there, I had a separate question. So isn't there, does Wilson have a train-the-trainer component? I thought it did. You're not sure?
Yeah, they do.
So is that something, if we are looking at training more staff in this, can we get a couple of our staff trained up? And then that would reduce.
We have one that's either finished or almost finished, where she's gone through the 3 levels. When she gets to a certain level, she can train her staff.
But I think we would want some, that's good, Brian, but I think we would want some redundancy and have at least one, I think, maybe at least one more. So if that's something that you guys can take a look at
Yeah, definitely.
This funding as well.
and see how far people are along, because maybe somebody with a couple more classes could be that train the trainer, and then we have in-house training capacity. Good. Okay. Anything else on education? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Under, let's see, where are we now? Business. Items 22 through 28 now.
Motion.
Discussion?
We have a letter from Mr. Blum, who was ill and is unable to be here tonight, but he did want his letter read. I did pass a copy out to the board members.
You wanted it read?
Yes, for
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I will do my best. Dear fellow board members and the public at large, I have been concerned about our shrinking enrollment, as I suspect most, if not all of you, are concerned too. Please find attached my analysis and related projections. It is undeniable that our student population is shrinking. From June 2016 to June 2018, our population has decreased by 6.5%. However, the burden on our taxpayers has increased. I am comfortable with the June 2019 and June 2020 projections. The loss of student population from June 2016 to June 2020 is estimated at 82 students, or 11% decrease. Increasing the tax burden while the student population is decreasing is very hard to justify. For this reason, I shall withhold my support for the proposed budget. May I suggest a working session with the entire board to address this situation? Should you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to call me. He then lists his number and his email. The time to act is now, not later, and an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of
Sure.
cure.
Sure.
Sincerely, Robert A. White.
Shelley, just refresh this timetable for budget process.
The preliminary budget is due this week, so that's on the agenda tonight. And then we will have a public hearing April, did you say it was
April 25th, according to this old memo. Is it still the 25th?
I believe so.
Double check real quick.
Like we have a board meeting that night.
That'll be the public hearing and the approval for the final budget at that point.
April 25th, yes.
So that's preliminary to the county. There still is an opportunity to tweak the budget between now and final adoption. Okay.
Can we tweak the taxpayer portion of the tax increase after we send it tomorrow? I thought we could. We can?
Where are we at today with the percentage?
The finance committee met last Wednesday, and we were reviewing basically what we believe will be at the top of the security report that we're getting, which is that we need a notification intercom system. There's several spots in our building that you cannot hear when there is type of announcements, and if there was an emergency, we need strobes and other things that help everyone know. So the notification system, we've been looking into it for a couple of years already, but we feel that this is the time that we have to implement. The cost of the system, the best price we've gotten is $125,000. The committee discussed raising taxes to 2% plus using an amount equal to the bank cap from the prior 2 years where we did not increase taxes all the way in order to pay for 1/3 of the system. We were going to finance it over 3 years. We did receive additional state aid on Thursday in the amount of $79,000 plus. The finance committee decided by email that they would like to be able to fund that entire system at one time in the 18-19 budget, and that keep it from being financed over into the following 2 years after. So what you have there is tax increase that equates to $111,000, which is the 2% plus $36,000, which was banked previously, and there's the complete notification system is in that budget.
Thanks, Sean. Other questions?
And it's like $9 a month for the average household. Was that it? $12?
I think it was less than that, yeah.
But it's the quote average assessed house.
The average is
20.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
I think one of the things that was discussed at the finance committee, of course, is the total 2% increase. And I would think that everyone on that committee had agreed, and of course I sent Shelley my opinion, which I said I can't picture any parent in the school district objecting to us putting in an emergency notification system, which is going to cost us the increased amount from the state and a 2% raise, rather than saying, oh, well, let's not protect this school this year, and we'll try to get something there next year. I think the fact that we're going to have protection and security, plus the security guard, police officer, the increased cost of them, made us go to the 2% increase, plus use the additional money from the state. But as I said, I can't think of anyone that would object to having that security for their children.
Right.
Well, it's the state money, the 2%, and the bank cap.
That's the whole 2% though, isn't like half of the 2% or half a percent? But you were going to raise it 1.5 before the security question.
You're right. For that,
1.5 to fund the normal budget, and it's a 0.5% to fund the security budget.
that's a good distinction. I think that's a good distinction.
I don't think any parent would argue with the 0.5%. If it's 1.5% on a declining enrollment, that everybody will argue.
But if you go back into the budget, and the fact is that we're receiving about $580,000 less in tuition, and we have decreased the number of teachers, we have teachers who are retiring. We've virtually done everything we can do to cut the cost. So it's a situation that in order to provide the same services, the same classes to our students, that we needed to do that 1.5, and then the additional 1.5 plus the statement.
I don't know if I voted on the budget, if I was on the board last year to vote on the budget or not, but the last year I voted, we raised it 2% because we could. We didn't necessarily need it, and it wasn't necessarily earmarked for anything, but we were allowed to increase 2%, so we did. So my opinion is in those times, maybe we shouldn't increase it 2%, so in these times, we would be much better off. So we increase it every year 2%, and every year we have some way of justifying it, and every year we don't really go through all our expenses, in my opinion, go through all our expenses and cut where we should.
Shelley, is that right, that we increased it 2%?
We haven't the last, we did not in 15, 16, I think we did in 16, 17, we did not for 17, 18.
16, 17 was the last one I voted on.
One of the problems is that to command the money that you need, and I agree with you about going through, there's no harm in doing that, but one of the problems is that the money that is commanded by a penny on the tax rate is gone down.
The rate was terrible.
So, you know, it's how much of the 2% is actually because the assessed value of properties in Belvidere have declined. Isn't there a percentage of...
The ratables have decreased again for 2018.
Our tax, people have abandoned their homes because they can't afford their mortgage and their taxes. I have 3 on my street. So, you know, you're not getting tax money on those. So when you see all the vacant homes because people can't afford to live in Belvidere, I would think that would throw a light bulb on.
Well, it's also a matter of not getting commercial ratables too, which earn you a lot. There's more bang for the buck.
But if I was a business, I'm not moving into Belvidere. Not our tax rate.
All I'm saying is that, you know, the tax increases have a piece of it that has to do with declining assessed value.
An example of where I think there's waste. I drive past 3rd Street School on off hours, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock in the morning. That building's lit up like a Christmas tree. So there's wasted tax dollars. I'm sure it's true with all the buildings, but that's the one I happen to drive past all the time. Coming in on 10. We had little switches where motion detectors, I wonder how much money we would save there just by switching to LED lights. In my home, I save $30 a month. So I don't think we've actually looked at, investigated, and agonized over our budget and our bills to see where we could cut dollars. And that's why I don't agree with this. We just raise it back 2% every year. So we can.
I agree with the issue about the lighting situation at 3rd Street School, because I've observed that too. I don't know, and this is just my opinion, I don't necessarily agree that we just raise because we can. I think it's a pretty deliberative
I
process.
think it's easier to raise than it is to cut. That's what I promise you.
Okay, well, I'm just reacting to I'm just responding to what you said, Marion.
The list of cuts that we,
Yeah, so it depends.
There is a lot of pain in this budget. There's a lot of cuts in this budget, and we're trying to maintain quality, you know, but also recognizing that the bottom line is the bottom line. So
I think it might have been a fair statement 2 years ago. I it's a fair statement today. I think we did. I mean, we made
It's the last budget I voted on. We did.
It's fair enough. I do.
We could.
I understand that. I think that this year I think we probably actually went through the process as you would like us to do that. And trust me, I drive by 3rd Street whenever I have a Harmony meeting, so I also have that same thing. I also think about going in and shutting all the lights off, but, you know.
It's a lot more motion sensor, because myself and Kevin, I'm there the last thing that all over the building. The motion sensor is the ones that come on out of the wall.
Well, then you got somebody in your building then at 8 o'clock?
The wind blows outside the kindergarten and it goes on.
Well,
Heat too.
there should be some remedy to that, though.
Yeah.
There ought to be.
Every light switch that could be flipped off is off every single day.
Yeah, but regardless of that, the lights are still on, so that's something that we have to investigate and figure out what the solution is, because there should be I think a relatively easy remedy to fix that problem.
The motion detectors don't work, then put switches back in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think this year we did go through the budget with a fine tooth comb and really did, and we made some painful cuts this year.
And the lion, to me, is the lion's share of the money we're spending. The big ticket item is school security. And I agree with Doc. We're not going to do like a Sophie's Choice for building security and pick one school and not the other two, and get to the next school in 2 years and the other school in 3. No way.
25% of the tax increase for that.
And even with declining enrollment, I still want the kids that are left to be protected.
Yeah, but I want the kids that are left, I want more than 3 in the class, let's say, for example. And I think we have to still have a bunch of them.
Well,
I think when I was complaining about this, Chris Carabinas was the only one that said, holy crap, she's right. We have extra teachers that we really aren't utilizing. And he was the only one that took it on over at Oxford. I don't think a third should be taught every utilize. But I have a feeling they have to utilize it. So like I said, I'm just throwing out there, I'm gonna vote no. I vote no, I'm voting no on principle because I don't think we've done our due diligence.
so what would you like to see happen, Marianne, in
I
terms
would
of
like
due
to see
diligence?
almost every line item that we spend money on, researched as to why that dollar is there. Electric could be the first one. Like I said, that school is lit up. You've noticed it, you've noticed it, you've noticed it. I don't know if you said you did. You noticed it, and Brian noticed it. We all notice it. We haven't done a damn thing about it in 5 years. What does it take to fix it? And I think we need to look at that on every line.
What's the board's pleasure? You want to have a board-wide working session?
I don't think
We're
you're
gonna
gonna
vote
fix it
tonight
tonight.
from the preliminary.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I know we're voting on the preliminary. My question is, do we want to then afterwards at a separate board meeting, do we want to go through in more detail the budget and see if there are areas that can be further refined and dialed in?
Well, you still have to have guidance on that. So, go through it. What they came back to the every day we're good, 2%, or is
I
your,
don't think
or
we
is your
as a board can
expectation?
do it. I don't think we as a board can do it in the next month. I think this is probably a 6-month long process that's gonna take much more than the board sitting down once a month and looking at it.
So your suggestion is moving forward, so we deal with this year's budget and people vote however they want to vote. Then moving forward, we start to take a look at, and I guess I don't mean to put words in your mouth, Marianne, but I'm just kind of restating, we're trying to, then we have a different process moving forward where it's a more detailed process that we start earlier in the budget cycle. Is that,
We start as soon as we're done with this one.
goes back to finance? Yeah.
Look at how many kids are in a class. Look at where all the teachers are during the day. I mean, that is your biggest chunk of the money. You're not going to save a ton in other places. But look at all those things. Look at the electric. Are lights on at night? Are they on at night? What are the temperatures set to here? The temperature should go down at night, and then come back up in the morning. Or are we heating it at 72 degrees 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
So maybe the charge to the board, to all the board, is then to formulate those types of questions. And when we start that process, we look at every budget category, the major categories, and see if there's any any tweaking in or dialing in of the budget that can be made to reduce the overall operation.
Copy paper. You buy it by the pallet. It's way cheaper than buying it by a couple of cases at a time. We have two school districts here. I'm sure there's combined services and those kind of things that they say.
We utilize them.
All right. Anything else? Questions on that? 22 through 28? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose 23, and I abstain on 28.
Any abstentions?
I have opposed on the budget.
23.
23, Mary?
Do you have enough votes? What do you need?
It's not
What is it,
personnel.
5-2?
So,
It's just a simple
Simple
majority
majority.
for 23? Okay.
yeah, we're okay. All right. Continuing business. I started to draft, but I didn't get very far. I was going to work on something for the board around request to for some assistance around security items. We talked about that at the last board meeting, so hopefully I'll have something for the next meeting. Have we gotten any further with the Educational Foundation and the accounts? And
We actually did. We encountered a little bit of a bump in the road, so to speak. Someone else was looking to dig into some of the funds, so we had to backtrack just a little bit. But I'll fill you in at the next curriculum committee meeting.
okay.
So, in progress, but a couple of challenges that arose.
I'd like to get this moving if we can. We've been talking about it for a while, so I don't know what the bump in the road is, but
Yeah, I don't want to say it publicly. But
Okay.
I'm happy to.
yeah, I'd like to hear about it. So, all right, new business? Any new business?
I have, with the new business, if the board would like to have a brief, 5 minutes or less, exec session at the end, and bring up to speed on negotiations. For anyone who's non-conflicted.
I'm interested. Okay. All right. Thanks, Sam. Public participation. We have our second public participation. Any comments from the public this evening? Questions? Yes.
I have 2 questions. Sorry I was late.
That's okay.
So, Officer Riley is at the high school full-time?
He's district-wide.
Oh, yeah.
He's not specifically assigned to one of the buildings, he's assigned to all 3.
And by April, the school board will be assisting Belvidere, which leads me to my next question. And I'm new to all this, so the 2% increase is to Belvidere pay for school security here?
It's not, no, it's 1.5% is the normal, I'll use my words. So, now, none of any of these. What we're doing is, as we call it, a normal tax increase that'll cover the operational costs throughout the district. So we can go to 2% every year without a vote. Yeah, that extra 0.5%, and then bank cap, which we haven't raised, so there's 0.5 and a 0.5. That is all going straight to security.
Okay. But the increase that you're talking about, that you're concerned about, is here and not without. Is that ordinance taken on by Belvidere alone, or is this ordinance taken on by all 10 positions?
Well,
Because it's schools, my reason I ask is because if we're trying to secure a school that everybody goes to, again,
The costs are pushed to the other towns via our tuition cost. The costs are pushed out to White Township and Hope and Harmony through our tuition. The tuition is set for this budget, but it'll trues up every 2 years. So all those costs go in.
so,
Do you have any other questions? Okay. Any other public participation this evening? Mayor Kennedy.
How are you? Good evening. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. You may have said this already, but I have several questions, and I'll direct most of them to the show.
Joe, can you move up a little?
Yeah, sure.
You know,
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
My first question is, prior to our security issue that we were addressing, you were looking at approximately 1.5% increase in school board taxes, correct? What did that equate to in dollars and cents?
What does the 1.5%
Yes.
equate to? $56,301.
Okay, and then the added 5% for security equating to how much? Another 0.5%.
$18,767. And then we also added bank capped amount, which is $36,088.
What was the last part?
The committee also decided to utilize the amount of banked cap, which is an amount that we did not raise taxes in the previous years, but to add that in to also fund the costs, and that's equal to $36,088. The total tax increase proposed then is $111,155.
And as I understand it, by some of the news that's come out, and you may have mentioned it here tonight, you're getting roughly an additional $80,000 in state aid.
Yes.
What is that additional $80,000 in state aid utilized for? Is that usable this year or not so much?
It's for the 18-19 budget, and we have it in the budget to pay for the notification intercom system.
The what?
A notification system. It's an intercom and paging system, different emergency notification capabilities throughout the entire district.
So that's going, that full amount of additional state aid is going to go towards security notification. Right. So you're going to use that realized money from state aid plus an additional 0.5% of 18,000, correct? So you're ready to that.
The system is, the cost is $125,000.
Were you going to do this system and you put that system in, but you got the state aid?
We were going to finance it over 3 years, but with the additional state aid, we'll be able to put it into 1 year's budget.
Okay, so you're not going to spread it out over 3 years?
Correct.
I commend Mary Ann, so, you know, I like your thinking about going line item for line item. We've recently done it in the town, and it's been working out very well for us. So if you guys can do it, it's definitely worth the effort. There's no question about it.
I just want to state that that is something that we do. We've been doing it for many years, and we look at the budget really carefully.
The reference to the LED lights, we recently did this in municipality as well, and we're realizing the tremendous savings. Actually, the new LED lighting systems that we're putting in the municipal district right now, we're going to have that paid for just through that investment in about 3/4 of a year to a year if we do the final municipal. So there's companies out there that look them out and take a look at this.
We have done a lighting audit and had things done here.
Thank you. Any other questions from the public this evening? Oh, Kathy.
What is the cost per household per year for the increase?
The proposed increase is $125 on the average residential, which is $10.42 per month.
And that's the average.
That's based upon the ratables that I obtained from the taxpayer or from the tax assessor.
Anything else from the public this evening? Okay, we're going to have a short executive session to discuss negotiations. We will not be taking action. Do we have a motion and a second to go into exec?
Motion. Second.
It is hereby resolved the Belvidere Board of Education will now go into private session to discuss negotiations. Any discussion held by the board that need not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the private session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the closed session, but we will not be taking any action.